Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on the Edgeserv point of sale system. Now, stepping into a new restaurant and facing a new POS, well, it can feel a bit like being handed the controls to a spaceship, maybe.
Yeah, a little overwhelming sometimes.
Definitely. But don't worry, this deep dive is specifically designed for you if you're a new front of house team member just getting started with Edgeserv in a restaurant. Our goal is really just to make you feel confident and ready to go.
Exactly. Edgeserv is a really powerful tool. It handles a huge amount of what keeps a restaurant running smoothly, from taking customer orders right through to processing payments, even helping manage shifts.
It really does pack a punch.
It does. It's got a lot going on behind the scenes.
And while Edgeserv can do all sorts of amazing things, what we're going to focus on today is the core stuff, the front of house operations you'll be using every single shift, basically taking care of customers and keeping things moving.
Your day-to-day toolkit.
Exactly. Think of this as your essential toolkit to hit the ground running. Okay, so the very first thing you'll do is log in. Let's walk through that.
Okay, the login is pretty straightforward. You'll see a login screen and you just enter your personal 4-digit PIN.
Your own unique code.
Right. Your manager sets that up for you in what's called the back office. That's kind of the admin control center for Edgeserv, where they configure all the settings and manage employee accounts.
Makes sense.
And what's interesting is if you happen to work multiple roles, you're a server sometimes, but help out at the host stand other times.
Yeah.
The system will actually ask you to pick which role you're working for that shift.
Oh, okay. So it tracks your time correctly for that specific job.
Exactly. Helps with labor costs, scheduling, all that stuff.
Got it. So PIN, choose role if needed. Then what?
Then you might see a prompt, something like, would you like to log in?
Yeah.
If you're just clocking in to start your shift, but maybe not ready to jump onto orders right away, you can hit no.
Ah, okay. So clocking in versus actually logging into the order system.
Precisely. If you're ready to go, you hit yes. Now, some places, maybe faster paced spots like bars, might have a quick login feature enabled.
What's that?
It basically shows buttons with employee names on the screen. You just tap your name and bam, you're in. Super fast. But it's usually for non-manager roles.
Okay, so PIN pad or maybe these quick buttons. Depends on the setup.
Right. And quick login needs to be specifically turned on in the back office settings and enabled for your job role's permissions. So if you don't see those name buttons, no worries, just use the PIN pad.
Good to know. So once you're logged in, what are we looking at?
You'll be working within different sections. Think of these like virtual areas to keep all the active customer orders organized.
Like digital filing cabinets?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll commonly see sections like dining room, to go, maybe bar. It just helps keep everything neat and separate.
Makes finding the right order easier, I bet.
Definitely. So, to start a new order, you first go to the right section. In the dining room, you'll probably see a map of the tables.
A visual layout. Cool.
Yeah, and it uses color codes to give you a quick status update on each table. Green usually means open, ready for guests.
Okay.
Yellow might mean an order's started but not sent to the kitchen yet. Orange often means the order is sent and being made.
What about other colors?
Blue can signify an order with items on hold, maybe waiting for the main course. White might mean the table's locked, maybe another server is using it. And red usually means you don't have permission to access that table.
Right, got it. So the colors give you a quick snapshot. What about to-go orders? No tables there.
Good point. For to-go, instead of a table, you'll usually be prompted to enter the customer's name. That's how the order gets identified.
Okay, name for to-go, table for dine-in, then you get to the order screen itself.
Exactly. Once you select a table or start that to-go order, you'll land on the main order entry screen. This is where you'll spend a lot of your time.
All right, the main event. What's the layout like?
On the right side, you've got all your menu items. The left side is where the items you select for the current order will appear.
Okay, menu right, order left.
And way down at the bottom, there's a row of ticket options. These are actions that apply to the whole order, and we'll definitely dig into those in a bit.
Gotcha. So how do you find the item you need on the right?
Usually through carts at the top. Think of them like big menu sections, breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe drinks.
Okay, so you tap a cart.
And then below that, you'll see categories within that cart, like appetizers, entrees, desserts under the dinner cart, for instance. Tapping a category filters the items shown.
Makes sense. Easier to drill down. Are there any visual clues on the items themselves?
Yeah, keep an eye out for a few things. An asterisk often means it's a subcategory, so there are more choices inside that item.
Like modifiers or something?
Could be, yeah. Or maybe different sizes. A slash usually indicates a combo item where you'll need to pick sides or drinks.
Okay, combos. Anything else?
And if you see a little number in the top right corner of an item button,
Yeah.
that's a heads up. It means it's a limited quantity item, and the number tells you how many are left in stock.
Oh, that's super useful. Avoids ordering something that's run out.
Exactly. Manages expectations. So once you tap the item you want,
It goes over to the left side, the order side?
it does, and you'll usually see a set of item actions pop up too, often on the side. These let you do specific things to that item you just added.
Okay, so actions for just one item. Like what?
Well, if a customer wants just that burger to go, you tap the to go button for that item.
Simple enough.
If they want another one just like it, hit repeat. Now, split here. This is important. It's for splitting one item, like if two people share an appetizer. It's not for splitting the whole check.
Ah, okay, good distinction. Splitting one item, what else?
Undo discount removes a discount from just that item. If you added something by mistake before sending it to the kitchen, you can use move to take it off the order.
And if it's already sent?
Then move usually changes to void. We'll talk more about voids later. The note button lets you add special instructions for the kitchen about that specific dish.
Like no onions are an allergy.
Exactly. And those notes show up on the kitchen ticket, but not on the customer's final receipt.
Perfect.
Transfer lets you move an item that's already been sent to a totally different order. Maybe you put it on the wrong table's check.
Okay, useful for mistakes.
Change price lets you manually override the price for just that single instance. And QTY is simply for changing the quantity before you send it off.
Got it. So lots of control at the item level right there.
Definitely. Those item actions give you flexibility right when you're adding things. Now let's shift down to those ticket options at the bottom we mentioned earlier.
Right, the ones that affect the whole order. What's key there?
Well, split ticket is a big one. That's how you handle separate checks.
How does that work?
It gives you different ways to do it. You can split by seat number if you've been assigning items to seats.
Which you do with the seat button, right?
Exactly. We'll mention that one too. You can also move everything back to one check if the split gets messy, add completely new checks for a big party, or manually move specific items between the different checks.
Seems pretty flexible. What else is down there?
Adjustments. This is where you apply discounts to the whole ticket, mark an order as tax exempt, or maybe use a manager ticks discount if you have permission.
Okay. And you mentioned something important about tax exempt.
Yes. Usually you need to apply the tax exempt adjustment before adding any items to the order, and you'll likely need to enter their tax ID number too.
Good tip. Before adding items, what's the customer button for?
That links the order to a customer profile stored in the system. Great for loyalty programs or if they have a house account. You can search for existing customers by name or phone, or even create a new profile right there.
Andy. And you mentioned seat.
Yep, the seat button lets you assign items to specific seat numbers as you add them. Help servers know who gets what and make splitting the check by seat possible later.
Makes sense. What about the note button down here? Is that different from the IDO note?
It is. This note applies to the entire ticket. Maybe you want to note it's a birthday table or something. Like the item note, it doesn't print on the customer receipt, just for internal view.
Okay, internal note for the whole ticket. And then the send options.
Right, your choices for sending the order to the kitchen. Sends and exit, sends it, and takes you back to your main section screen.
Done with that table for now.
Exactly. Send and stay. Sends the order, but keeps you on that same ticket screen. Maybe they want to order drinks next.
Okay. And send and hold.
That one's really useful for timing courses. You can select certain items to send now, and then hold others to be sent later, either after a set time or when you manually release them.
Ah, so appetizers go now, hold the entrees for 15 minutes, that kind of thing.
Precisely. Keeps the kitchen from firing everything at once, ensures courses come out properly paced.
That sounds crucial for good service.
It really is. And once you hit send, where does it go? To the kitchen display system, the KDS?
The screen in the kitchen, right, instead of paper ticket.
Exactly. It's the kitchen's digital order screen. It shows all the active orders they need to work on.
How do they manage the orders on that screen?
Usually with something called a bump bar. It's like a simplified keyboard. They'll have number keys to select an order, arrows to scroll, a BUMP key.
To bump off items they've finished.
You got it. Marks them as done. There's usually a SUM key to clear a whole completed order off the screen and a recall function to bring back the last order they cleared just in case of mistakes.
Handy. So they bump items, then sum the ticket when it's all done.
That's the basic idea. And remember, menu items are programmed to show up on specific KDS stations. Salads go to the salad station screen, grill items to the grill screen, and so on.
Keeps the kitchen organized. Okay, so order sent, food made, and served via the KDS. Now the customer wants to pay.
Right. Time to settle up. You'll tap the Pay button on the order screen.
And that takes you to the payment screen?
Yep. Payment processing screen. You'll see the total amount due right at the top.
What are the options there?
You can type in an exact payment amount if needed. Maybe someone's paying just their portion. Or there's usually a Split Check Evenly button. Tap that. Choose how many ways to split, and it calculates it for you.
Easy enough for even splits.
And you'll often see quick cash payment buttons too, like $20, $50, $100 buttons. Tap one, and it shows the change due immediately.
Oh, nice shortcut for cash.
Definitely. Below those are the actual pay with methods.
My cash card.
Exactly. For cash, you tap it, enter the amount the customer gave you, and the system tells you the change owed. Simple.
Okay. Cards.
Tap card. Edgeserv usually works with external readers. You might see PAX models like the A35, A77, or maybe an Aries 8.
The little terminals they tap or insert into.
Right. Customer swipes, inserts the chip, or taps, contactless like Apple Pay.
Yeah.
The reader usually dupes or shows a confirmation. Receipt prints automatically most times.
What if the reader isn't working?
Good question. Quick fix is often just rebooting it. Unplug it for 10 seconds, plug it back in.
The classic turn it off and on again.
Hey, it works a lot. If that doesn't do it, it might be a network issue. You might need to check its IP address in the back office settings. That's like its network address.
Yeah.
But your manager can usually help troubleshoot that.
Okay. Good to know the basics. What other payment types might we see?
Well, there's gift for Edgeserv gift cards. Might need to swipe, scan a QR code, or type in a number.
Okay.
Gift certificate is usually for old school paper certificates. You'll probably enter a reference number from it.
Right.
House account only shows up if you've linked the order to a customer who actually has a house account set up.
Makes sense. Can only use it if it's available for that customer.
Exactly. And sometimes you can even take payments towards their house account balance through the customer editor section. Then there's external credit card.
When would you use that?
If the restaurant uses a separate credit card machine that isn't directly integrated with Edgeserv, you process a payment there, then just log it in Edgeserv using this button.
Gotcha. Like a record-keeping step.
Yep.
Yeah.
And manual credit card lets you type in card details directly, maybe for phone orders. But lots of places disable this for security. It's a back office setting.
Understandable. Any others?
There might be a tender button that opens up a menu of other custom payment types the restaurant has set up. Could be anything specific to them.
Okay, lots of options. Is there anything tricky about finalizing the payment?
Just keep an eye out for an exclamation mark icon next to a payment sometimes. That usually means you need to hit a confirm payment button to fully finalize that specific tender.
Okay, and an extra confirmation step.
And sometimes, especially for things like delivery orders, after it's fully paid, that button might change to close order. You'll need to tap that to officially close the whole ticket out.
Got it. Confirm or close, and receipts.
You need to give those out. You can usually print right from the pay screen, or back on the section screen where you see your tables or to-go list, you can select the closed ticket and hit print receipt.
What if you need to reprint one?
There's often a print last check button somewhere prominent for a quick reprint of the very last one. For older ones, go to the main menu, then reprint docs. You can usually filter by server or table number there to find the one you need.
Okay, reprint docs. Good to remember. Now, end of the shift. Time to go home. What's the process?
Right. Got to close out properly. First step is clocking out. Go to menu, then time clock.
Okay.
You'll likely see two options, check out and clock out. If you're a server who handles cash tips, you'll probably use checkout.
Why check out?
It logs you out of the server functions, but crucially, it prompts you to declare your cash tips for the shift.
Ah, reporting your tips.
Exactly. Then it automatically prints your server checkout report. Clock out does the same thing, prompts for tips, prints the report, but it also fully logs you out of the whole Edgeserv system.
So check out if maybe someone else is using the terminal after you. Clock out if you're completely done.
Kinda, yeah. The main difference is declaring tips and getting that report, which both usually do. Declaring tips accurately is super important.
And that server checkout report, what's that show?
It's your summary for the shift. All your sales, payments received, tips declared, and critically, it calculates if you owe the house any cash or if they owe you money back.
Your personal shift summary. Can you reprint that if you lose it?
Yep. Usually via menu user checkout screen, managers can also pull it from the back office.
Okay. What about the cash drawer itself if you use one?
Right. Often when you first log in for the day, The drawer pops open automatically, and it asks you to count and enter your starting balance, your float.
Setting up the drawer.
Exactly. You can also manually open it anytime. Menu cache drawer, select your drawer, hit open drawer.
And closing it out.
Similar process. Menu cache drawer, choose the drawer, tap close drawer. It'll print a detailed cache drawer report showing all the ins and outs, and then the drawer opens for you to count it down.
Okay. Prints a report before you count.
Right. And it might ask if you want to start a new drawer. Usually you'd say no if your shift is over.
What if you need to add or remove cash during the shift, like petty cash?
Good question. Use paid in out. It's also under menu cache drawer. You enter the amount, say if it was paid in or paid out, and add a note explaining why, like paid window cleaner or added change.
So there's a record of it.
Exactly. You can even set it up in the back office to print the little slip for paid outs.
Okay, that covers the drawer. Last thing, tips again. Specifically, credit card tips. How are those handled?
Right. Those usually need to be entered after the customer has paid and left. You'll typically go to Menu Transactions and Tips.
Transactions and tips, okay.
Inside there, look for an untipped tab. It lists all the card transactions from your shift that are waiting for a tip amount to be entered.
So you find the transaction.
Select it, type in the tip amount the customer wrote on the slip, and hit Save.
And then it's recorded.
Yep, it moves over to the Tip tab. You can usually still review or adjust tips there for a while before the final end-of-day batch happens.
Got it. Adjustments are possible before batching.
Exactly. So that's the core flow.
Yep.
But there are a few other useful management bits worth knowing, even as you start out.
Like what?
Well, we touched on adjustments for discounts and tax stuff. There's also quantity control.
For those limited items we mentioned.
Right. You can access it via the menu, or often just press and hold on an item button on the order screen. It lets you see how many are left, set a new remaining quantity, or mark something as 86 UTs totally out of stock. Or unbound removes the limit.
Okay, quick access to stock levels. Good.
And voids. Sometimes you need to remove things. You can void items from an order screen even after they're sent, usually by highlighting it and hitting void, then picking a reason.
Makes sense. What about hold checks?
You can void an open check right from the pay screen. Usually there's a void ticket option. If a check is already closed, or you need to void a payment, you'd likely go back to that Transactions and Tips area, find the transaction, reopen it, and then void it.
Okay, a few more steps for closed ones.
Yeah, and just so you know, voided things usually show up in red on the back office reports, making them easy to spot.
Good to know. Any quick reports we can see on the front end?
Yeah, usually under menu reports, there are some handy ones. Daily sales, your server checkout report again, a time report showing who's clocked in, maybe a stock report for those quantity items, a server financial report, and a delivery report if the place does deliveries.
Quick snapshots without going to the back office. Nice.
So yeah, as you can tell, Edgeserv is pretty comprehensive. It covers a lot of ground for front of house. We've really hit the essentials today. Logging in, taking orders, payments, closing out.
It definitely feels like a solid foundation.
Hopefully it gives you a good starting point as you actually start using the system hands-on.
Absolutely. And that really brings us towards the end of this introductory deep dive into Edgeserv's front of house side. Just remember, everyone, while we've covered a lot of info, the best way to get comfortable is practice, practice, practice.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly. Ask your trainers, managers, other team members. Especially during training and those first few shifts. There are no silly questions when you're learning a new system like this.
And there are usually more detailed manuals or resources available, too, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of a specific feature later on.
For sure.
It's interesting how a system that seems maybe complex initially is really just following the logical steps of restaurant service.
That's a good way to put it.
And as you get more comfortable with it, you'll find it really helps you work smarter, serve guests better, and just make the whole experience smoother.
Definitely. Okay, so on that note, here's a final thought for you to mull over as you start your Edgeserv journey. Thinking about everything we discussed, the order taking, payments, notes, holds, all that stuff, which features do you think you'll end up using most often day to day? And maybe more importantly, how do you imagine those specific features will actually impact your workflow and how you interact with your guests? Something to keep in the back of your mind as you dive in. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.